What's up, design family, and welcome back to another episode of Fittdesign TV. So glad to have you back on the channel. On today's episode, we have a new fashion entrepreneurship video for you guys. Specifically, those of you who are looking to start your own brands, or more so, those of you who have done it and are facing growing pains. You've started your own brand. You've gotten to that point where you have everything launched, but you're facing growing pains. Things haven't panned out the way that you want them to. Or let's just say you have some experience behind, and ultimately, you're not moving in the direction that you feel you want to be moving in. What is this concept? Well, this is a concept that I've personally implemented into my own business, and this is a concept that I've seen other extremely successful fashion entrepreneurs implement into their own businesses. It's a concept that is really going to allow you to go to the next level. It takes a lot of grit, but when implemented correctly, it's something that can completely change the game for you. What is it? Well, it's the concept of stick or twist. And this is something you have to play on a case-by-case basis. Watch this video to see exactly how you can implement stick or twist into your own business. What's up, design family, and welcome to Fittdesign TV. So glad to have you here. On this channel, we discuss all things sports fashion, graphic design, manufacturing, and technology. We'll discuss key topics, answer pressing questions, and provide actionable steps on starting your own product line. If you're interested in any of the above topics, stick around. You're in for a good one. Stick or twist, what is it? Stick or twist is a concept that's coined into two core components. The idea of sticking with something, whether it's a business idea, whether it's a format, or twisting, completely changing the concept, pivoting away, right? In business, this is typically called as pivoting. Look at business as a path, and obviously you want to have clarity over where you're trying to get to. As a business owner, you're always plotting the course towards where you're trying to head, but obstacles are undoubtedly going to pop up in front of you. Yes, some obstacles are uncontrollable, right? These could be political situations, these could be global situations, but some obstacles are 100% within your control. The concept of sticking or twisting is to modify the things that are within your control and to try to navigate yourself in the best possible situation. When you stick with something, you've made the conscious decision to keep plotting a path forward through the storm. And you may be doing everything right, but situations out of your control are not allowing you or are hindering that progress. At that point, you stick with your decision and you keep moving forward. But let's just say you're making decisions that are not moving you forward. At this point, you need to take a step back. You need to effectively evaluate, what am I doing in this business? Am I targeting the wrong customer? Am I using the wrong product? Am I marketing myself incorrectly? Do I have a deficiency in my product quality? And you twist accordingly. You may find yourself in a completely different industry. And I'll give you guys specific examples, but in short, the idea of sticking or twisting is making a calculated decision on whether you should plot the path forward as you originally intended and stick with something, or you should be able to throw your ego aside and to twist the idea and to pivot into another direction. This is one of the greatest challenges that you'll ever face as a business owner, and it can be extremely daunting to potentially pivot away from something that you know and love in search of the unknown, but that could potentially bring in higher and greater rewards. Stick or twist. I'll give you guys 3 very clear concepts from my own personal life and my own business career. The first one was the decision to ultimately move away from my formal education. Essentially, I was studying to become an architect. I had invested 5 years of my life, endless nights. I had moved halfway across the world, left everyone I knew and everyone that I loved to pursue this career in education. But ultimately, I knew 4 years in that I didn't want to become an architect. I didn't want to pursue a formal career in this field. And this was scary. This was scary in the sense that I had already invested so much. My parents had already invested so much, had put in so much of my time, my sweat, my tears into this path. And a part of me wanted to stick with the path, wanted to stick with the original mission. I almost felt cowardly backing out of it. I felt that I was backing away without really knowing what this thing could become. But a part of myself was telling me, this is not the path for you. This is not where you want to be. Ultimately, trust yourself and move into the direction. This was the twist moment. This was the first twisting moment that I had to face. The second twisting moment is a couple of years later. I had officially moved into what I would categorize as a sportswear designer. I had a steady flow of clients. I was working on my own. I had already moved all the way out from Los Angeles to Houston, Texas, and I was beginning to indulge in this path that was the twist path for me, the first twist path for me. But somewhere along that line, I realized that what I'm doing could actually be so much bigger than what it is. Yes, I was designing clothes and I was extremely happy, but at the same time, I realized that there's something bigger here. There's something that I'm not tapping into. As I began to get requests, as I began to see what the market needed, as things started to open up in front of me, I started to see that I needed to implement a more holistic business practice into what I was offering. It wasn't just about designing clothes. It was also about making these clothes. It was about creating the branding behind these clothes. It was about being able to give our customers a place to sell these clothing. And this is where I realized that for me to limit myself, to continue down this path of just design, I could achieve a level of success in it, but ultimately the level of fulfillment and the level of potential that I knew I could extract from the company wasn't there. So this was the second twisting motion, the twist to actually make a decision to grow beyond just that singular path of design and ultimately make the company more holistic. And that twist led us into what the format is of the company today. And ultimately that twist also led into the challenges that we continue to face today, but the challenges that continue to push us, to continue to allow us to grow. The last twist that we had to face, and ultimately I know that there will be others and there will be larger challenges along the way, but the last twist we had to face was that of going from the singular to the entity, to what Fittdesign is today. And I remember this very, very clearly. I remember the feeling that I'm at my limit, I'm at my capacity. I can only give so much more of my time. How do I grow this thing beyond myself? How do I make a decision to take this idea, this entity, and to make it more of a concept rather than just a person? At that time, I used to look at Fittdesign as me, and Fittdesign was me. Whatever Fittdesign was asked for or asked of is ultimately what I would be asked of. There was a limitation there. There was a limitation of my own personal time. I could only output what I could input. And this just created such a major roadblock. Two challenges I faced. Number one was this own personal internal challenge. The internal challenge of satisfaction, of comfort. I had minimal to no overhead. I was charging and creating a service-based business where there was zero overhead. I was living pretty much on a rent-free basis. And ultimately, I was able to work from home and I was able to work on my own terms. I was making really good money and I was growing my revenue month to month. But the comfort side of me would have said I should stick with this. I should actually cash out as much as I can. I should push this thing to its limits and I should see where it goes. The twist side of me told me that there's much more here to uncover. What do I need to do to uncover this? And this is where, again, you open up the can of worms. You open up the unknown. You almost look at the edge and you say to yourself, there's something out there that I need to actually go ahead and tackle. And this was actually the idea of growing the business, bringing on a team, hiring an office space, moving to the next level. And there's such a fear to that because you go from the familiar to the unfamiliar. You go from what you know to ultimately bringing in this idea, this concept that you've never had to tackle before. And this was the third biggest twist motion, which was going from a singular person to the team that we are today. All of this is to say that the importance of stick or twist is to be able to effectively look at where you are in your business life cycle, to be able to look at yourself in a way that is intuitive, to be able to evaluate, what am I doing? Do I actually double down on this? Do I continue down this path despite the obstacles and the hurdles I'm facing? Or do I twist? Do I flip the script? Do I change something fundamentally in my business? And do I explore the unknown? And there's no easy answer here. There's no do this or do that. You have two options and neither is right or wrong. But it all comes down to your specific situation. Let's just say you're a young fashion business and you've created something that you feel is truly special. You've designed the product, you've developed it, you brought it to market and it hasn't reached the audience that you feel that it should have reached. Do you stick with it? Do you just pour more gasoline onto the fire? Do you let it burn? Do you let it continue? There is something to be said about that, about pushing through the obstacles. And there's no easy way to discern whether you stick or you twist. But I promise you this, a part of you will know deep down whether it's your shortcomings that are preventing you from getting to where you want to go. So is it your own internal lack of work, lack of belief, lack of organization, lack of trust in others that is preventing you from actually implementing this original idea you have and completely seeing it through? Or is there something fundamentally wrong with what you've created or the circumstances around what you've created? Whether it's something you can control or whether it's something you can't control, the result is the same. You want to achieve your desired result. So at that point, you twist, you change, you flip the script, you implement something different into your business. Maybe you change your niche, maybe you create a different product, maybe you market yourself differently, maybe you completely change the entire business that you're in. Only you'll be able to take that decision, but it does take a lot of guts to do so. And it comes down to two things. If your intuition is telling you that you should twist, you twist immediately. This is a reflection of how you feel about the business. But if your intuition is telling you that you're just simply not doing the right things, you're not putting enough of the effort that you need to actually continue and to push through your obstacles, then you stick to the current path. Well guys, that is it. That is a wrap on this episode. This has been my core intuitive decision-making strategy in terms of whether you should stick with something or you should twist. Whether you should stay with a project, with a business and push through the obstacles, or you should effectively evaluate, am I doing something wrong here? Am I targeting the wrong market? Am I making the wrong product? And effectively twist your strategy. There's no easy answer, and ultimately it comes down to you. Hopefully you enjoy this type of content. I enjoy sharing these sort of esoteric concepts with you guys because truly those are the make it or break it moments that I've noticed in my own personal life and my own business life. And I fundamentally believe that you guys can benefit from this, especially on your own journeys. There's no greater journey than building your vision, your concept for what you want to do on this earth. And it's going to be a lifelong thing, whether you start one business or you start 1,000 businesses. Every single business is an extension of the vision that you see for yourself and what you want to put out. Yes, businesses should be money-making tools that allow you to continue to cultivate your vision, your idea, to be able to build a team, to be able to pour the resources you need. But ultimately, there should be something bigger there. And this is where a stick or twist mentality will always come into play. You may have to stick many times and you may have to twist a few times, or maybe the other way around. Ultimately, the decision is yours, and I hope you guys make the right decision. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Fittdesign TV. Until next week's episode, stay awesome.